A mystery of winged creatures, an uncrossable barrier, and the one who crossed it. In the Book of Mysteries, it's called the mystery of the cherubim. What do you think of when you think of cherubim? A lot of people think of cherubs, a little cuddly baby. Oh, you little cherub, so cute. Well, cherubim are not cute. You don't mess with cherubim. In the Book of Mysteries, the teacher leads the disciple through a winding ravine in the desert, opens up to a hidden enclave. They step into a cave, and there, inside, they see chambers, and on the wall of one of them is a remnant of an ancient painting of two winged creatures with a glowing sword.
Oh, here it is. Here it is right here.
And the teacher begins to read from Genesis, or speak from it. He says, "He drove out the man and placed cherubim on the east of the Garden of Eden, and a flaming sword, which turned in every direction to guard the way to the tree of life." This is the fall of man, the loss of Eden, of paradise, the separation of man from God, the division between the holy and the unholy. And the sign of that separation was the cherubim with a flaming sword. The cherubim formed the barrier to prevent evil and sin and fallen man from entering back into the presence of God. So the sign of the cherubim represents everything that separates us from God, everything that separates us from peace and purpose and meaning and love and fullness and joy. Every separation begins with that first separation in Eden. But it would seem impossible to ever get through that barrier. How could that barrier ever be removed? A flaming sword that's set up by God, cherubim. Well, now, a lot of people don't realize, but when God set up the tabernacle and the temple, He put barriers in there between man and God, veils, doors, veils particularly, and on the veils were cherubim. The cherubim from Eden were on the veils, saying that this was another manifestation of the barrier between us and God. But remember something. What happened when Messiah died? A supernatural event took place in the temple. What happened? The veil, or the parachet, this gigantic, colossal barrier that separated man from God, was torn apart from top to bottom. But the parachet, the veil, wasn't simply a cloth. It was a vessel of a mystery, because embroidered on its fabric were images of the cherubim, the guardians of Eden, still guarding the way back to God, the barrier separating us from God. But when Messiah died, what happened? The veil was torn in two. But as the veil was torn in two, the cherubim were pulled apart. Why? Because Messiah was passing through. He was going through the cherubim, the barrier you couldn't go through. It's a flaming sword. He's going back, as if taking us back to paradise through the flaming sword. Well, you could say, well, there's no way to get through that barrier, or you can pass it, but only if you die. By His death, as He passes through that barrier, He crosses the uncrossable barrier. The sign of the cherubim was broken. The barrier between God and man is gone. So what does that mean? All the barriers, all the separations between you and God are gone. For those who are in Messiah, there are no more separations, no more judgment, no more rejection, no more shame, no more guilt or curse. It means that whatever was separating you from your purpose, your blessing, your redemption, your wholeness is gone. Every barrier is removed. The way is clear. The cherubim are swept away. And you can come home. It's time to enter the blessing of God, because the cherubim are gone. What do we know of angels? Well, they're heavenly creatures sent by God with wings.